Hello everyone and welcome back to part 4 of our fist-only run in Dark Souls 1. Now, bonfire? Bonfire? Alright, that was weird. But we are going to be starting this one off by putting on the Dark Moon Seance Ring and then heading over to the Dark Moon Tomb to take on Gwendolyn, because there are some optional bosses that at this point we've mostly been ignoring, and we're going to take on some of those now. Now, if you remember, in the last part, we actually collected all of the fists, being the Cestus, the Dragonbone Fist, the Claw, and the Dark Hand, because that's a rule that I want to start achieving from this run going forward. We're probably not going to be using all of them every run, but I still want to get them. To get every weapon in every weapon class. No. Now, I'll admit, didn't do good here, but I will let it play out. Victory achieved. Definitely not my best work, but we got him first try, and 48,000. And we beat him using the Claw plus 15, Thief Mask plus 7, Black Leather Armor plus 7, Black Iron Gauntlets plus 2, Black Iron Leggings plus 2, the Covetous Silver Serpent Ring, and Hovel's Ring, along with 5 sips of the Estus Flask. And we beat him at level 62 with 30 Vitality, 30 Endurance, 9 Strength, 30 Dexterity, and 10 Resistance. And after popping some souls to get a few extra levels, we realized we can get 5 levels, and we decided to put them all into Dexterity to get some extra damage. And then we headed off. And since we joined the Fair Ladies Covenant, that made us leave this covenant, which then re-aggroed on the enemies. So we had to put on our stealth rings and then go through to rejoin in order to make them happy and friendly with us again. Which we can do that since we've already completed our goal of saving Solaire. And then we just continue on to Sif. And I wanted to see if I could Toxic Sif, which is why I have the Pyromancy Flame. But I will let this fight play out. Victory achieved. 48,000. Beat him first try. And we can put this ring back on, and we beat him with the Claw plus 15. The Pyromancy Flame, but I don't think it did anything. The Thief Mask plus 7. Black Leather Armor plus 7. Black Iron Gauntlets plus 2. Black Iron Leggings plus 2. Wolf Ring, Hovel's Ring, and 5 sips of the Estus Flask. And we beat him at level 67 with 30 Vitality, 30 Endurance, 9 Strength, 35 Dexterity, and 10 Resistance. And I believe this is the first boss where we really started to see the limitations of the range of the fist weapon type. Which is why I only use one weapon type at a time to really dive into the strengths and weaknesses. But after putting 2 more levels in, we decided to head on to the depths, where we can see the absolute peak of hitboxes. This game is very polished, by the way. But continuing on, we saw 4 giant rats, and then we got invaded. And I didn't want to fight 4 giant rats and an NPC invader all at the same time at half health. So I decided to run. Because usually the NPC invaders will just book it straight at you with reckless abandon. Like Mildred in Blighttown comes to mind. So I was sitting here waiting for that, but they didn't show up, so I figured I'm not gonna wait forever, I'll go to them. And you can see how this worked out. You know, I tried my best, but Kirk is too strong. I didn't stand a chance, I'm sorry. But continuing on to the boss, I got really excited at this because since this was our first time saving Solaire all the way to the end, I wanted to summon him for every single boss, but I couldn't summon him for the Centipede Demon. And so I felt like this was kind of a redemption to be able to summon him one last time, because I didn't know that you could summon him here. But we did. Definitely didn't have to because we're very much over leveled. But decided to do it because we could, just for the fun of it. So very happy about that. And I will let this fight play out. And Solaire got the last hit. Good on him. We put this on for some extra souls. Victory achieved. First try, 30k. Didn't even need any Estus. So we put that back on, and we beat him with the Claw plus 15, Pyromancy Flame, Thief Mask plus 7, Black Leather Armor plus 7, Black Iron Gauntlets plus 2, Black Iron Leggings plus 2, Ring of Steel Protection, and Hovel's Ring. And we beat him at level 70 with 30 Vitality, 30 Endurance, 9 Strength, 30 Dexterity, and 10 Resistance. And then we decided we put it off long enough. The Painted World of Ariamis. Now, we've taken measures to make sure we don't have another 15-minute fight, but still not happy about it. So we decided to go in and confront this boss. And I don't know what to say. I decided to do some menuing just to put them off for as long as possible, because I did not want to have to redo this fight. But I decided to go with Toxic.
Who art thou? One of us thou art not. If thou hast misstepped into this world, plunge down from the plank and hurry home. If thou seekest I, thine desires shall be requited not. Thou must returneth, this land is peaceful.
Doubt?
Its inhabitants kind. I
Wrong.
beg of thee, plunge down from the plank and hurry home.
No. So we decided to Toxic them to have an actual or an extra visual indicator, and also to shorten the length of the fight. Only problem was didn't work. So I figured we don't have enough Toxic, so went to go get more. And I went back in to try to warp, but even if you don't aggro her, you can't warp using this bonfire. So we went back. I don't know who made that decision, but bad. I heard that they made this area optional, made it to where you can just go through the boss in order to be able to skip this area in case you go in like under-leveled or unprepared. But kind of doesn't seem like they really did, though. But we ran back. And then we went and we bought some dung pies from the undead merchant because those build up toxic. And we also decided to buy some blooming purple moss clumps because dung pie also builds up toxic in the player, and I didn't want a toxic myself while trying to get rid of the boss. So we got that. Now, if you want to count, because this is the third time going through the boss fog. So if you want to count this as 3 attempts, you can. If you want to count it as 1 attempt, like I'm going to, you can, because even though this is our 3rd time going in, we haven't died yet. That yet is very important. But I'm not going to count the first 2 because we didn't actually fight the boss. But just kept throwing toxic in and decided to take a look at the boss, and you can see a purple fog around like their stomach, indicating that they have been toxicked. And so happy about that. I was originally going to wait it out, but I am deeply impatient, so we did end up attacking her before too long, and I will let this attempt play out.
I expected as much from thee. Why dost thee hurry toward thine death? But why? What seeketh thee?
And we beat Priscilla. No 15-minute fight this time. 36,000 first try. Very happy. So we decided to just sit back, take a breather, enjoy it. And Claw plus 15, Pyromancy Flame, very useful this time. Dung Pie, Thief Mask plus 7, Black Leather Armor plus 7, Black Leather Gloves plus 3, Black Leather Boots plus 3, Ring of Steel Protection, Covetous Silver Serpent Ring, and 1 Estus at level 71 with 30 Vitality, 30 Endurance, 9 Strength, 39 Dex, and 10 Resistance. And then we decide to head back and homeward bone out. Hey, rude. But we homeward bone out to safety. And wait, hold on. I forgot about this. I said safety, and I don't have my shield. I'm not prepared for this. Come on. Firekeeper, we can be friends. If you're so determined to fight me, then fine. Let's fight.
But how?
Parrying.
This man
I
is a
am,
threat, Master.
is dead. Give me the Firekeeper soul. I'll use it later, but for now, off to the Duke's Archives, where we decide to pop another soul, and then sit down and see that we can have 2 levels. And then here we are reminded that 40 is a very hard cap in this game in terms of damage, so we cry about that a little bit, and then have a decently long back and forth about where to put our other level. And at the end we decide to go with Vitality. And then we get up and we can move on. Pull the lever, Kronk. And hello, sir. And we definitely don't whiff the first parry. Definitely got it first try. And then smack you. I'm sorry, big respect to using the great sword. However, no. And then we decide to kill this thing because it's here to get ourselves another 2 Twinkling Titanite for the Black Iron set, if we ever use it again. Unlike the East-West shield, we should. But here we say rip to the 6k we have and go in. Now, if you want to count this as a death to Seath, you can, but it's a scripted death. You're supposed to die here, so I'm not, but I'll let this play out. And we found out that once you undo the, like, giant loud bell thing, whatever it is, you can actually spray toxic mist in there because they don't really come out. And this is a nice way of getting some souls if you really don't want to fight, even though they're not really that hard to fight. But we start off with 3,600, and after waiting for them all to die, we have gained 4,000. Again, we can come in here and just 2-shot them and not have to wait like a minute or so for Toxic Mist to wear them down, but that's just if you really don't want to fight. But whatever. We pick up the 2 miracles that we won't use and move on. And after sitting at the bonfire, we realize something very interesting. If you wear the 2 stealth rings, it actually doesn't aggro the snake men. And so you can come up here without having to fight the 2 snake men in this tiny little area. So that's good to know. Good to know. And then we save Sieglind, or however you pronounce their name, because we want to do their quest to get the Titanite slab for later. And then we really didn't want to fight these things, so I decided to keep on the stealth rings and try to use like throwing knives or something to get their attention. It did not work, sadly. So we decided to just run past, get hit, run past anyways. And at this point, we only had 4 Estus. And because the clam hit us, 3. So, not looking great. Especially since we don't have proper rings on. Now, if you look at some point soon, you'll be able to see the clan was actually in the boss room with us, but because of our 2 stealth rings, it never actually aggroes on, which is very nice. The stealth rings are super, super good. But anyways, I will let this fight play out. Victory achieved. First try. Good. A little underwhelming for a boss fight, but oh well. Easy 60,000. And Claw plus 15, Thief Mask plus 7, Black Leather Armor plus 7, Black Leather Gloves plus 3, Black Leather Boots plus 3, Slumbering Dragon Crest Ring, and Ring of Fog, along with 1 Estus Flask. At level 73 with 31 Vitality, 30 Endurance, 9 Strength, 40 Dexterity, and 10 Resistance. And I went back to Lost Izalith, and we found Solaire alive. So, very comfortable and confident that Solaire is going to survive all the way into the very end. Very happy with that. And then we decided to go and take on the DLC. And the first part of that is to fight the Hydra, which I did with honor and dignity. I fought it head on. Definitely didn't use a longbow and 100 poison arrows. But also, even though I definitely didn't use a longbow and 100 poison arrows, poison arrows didn't poison the Hydra, which was kind of a bummer. But in the end, we beat them. Again, with honor and dignity, head on, definitely not with a bow and a hawk ring. But then, after taking them down, we free Dusk, because I'm assuming you need to do that to get the broken pendant. Not 100% sure, but I'm just assuming. And then we go and fight the Crystal Golem for the broken pendant. Again, very legit. Very full of honor and dignity. Head on. Didn't even upgrade the bow. But while running back, realized didn't even pick up the longbow here. The one I used, I spent like 10-15 minutes grinding off the archers in Duke's Archives, because I just assumed I picked this one up. So, not a big loss, not a big deal, just a bit of an oof moment on my part, assuming that I had already gotten it when I hadn't. But, oh well, life moves on. And with that, we decided to get slurped up by Manus and light the bonfire before realizing we have 8 Titanite chunks. That's a lot of Titanite chunks. So we decided to go back and upgrade our armor. We also got the Titanite slab from Siegmeyer's quest, because that was the main reason we were down in Lost Izalith. So we got that, and we realized we didn't have enough for all of them, so I went over to the Dark Raids in New Londo to farm a few more chunks. And while doing that, I ended up getting a Titanite slab, which I didn't even know was possible, but awesome. Not going to farm anymore, but I got one, which was very nice. Now, after this, I decided to take a break and then come back. And little disclaimer for the fight, I actually had input lag, which, because going and doing this fight was the first thing I did after coming back from the break, I didn't know that I had input lag until I actually got into the fight and realized it, which threw me off because I had to roll like half a second or so before the roll would actually activate, which made me take some hits that I would not have taken otherwise. But oh well. So I decided to use Toxic, which, even though you won't see any damage numbers on their health bar is going down. And also you can see the poison clatter on their stomach. So the Toxic Mist did work at procced. But yeah, just keep the like a minor half a second or so input lag in mind, because it really threw me off on some of the attacks. But anyways, I will let this fight play out. Victory achieved. Oh, I will say, even with input lag, still a better fight than the Gaping Dragon. But 36,000, we did it. A little worrying, very, very close, but we did it. With a Claw plus 15, Target Shield plus 10, not that we used it. Pyromancy Flame, Thief Mask plus 9, Black Leather Armor plus 10, Black Leather Gloves plus 10, Black Leather Boots plus 9, Chloranthy Ring, Wolf Ring, and all 10 of Orestes Flask at plus 5. Yeah, we upgraded them. And we did this at level 81 with 39 Vitality, 30 endurance, 9 strength, 40 dex, and 10 resistance. Good thing we upgraded our armor. Now, after that, I decided to completely restart the game in hopes of getting rid of the input lag. It did, thankfully, but I didn't know if it did or not yet, so I decided to just double stealth ring and book it through this entire area because I was very worried, especially about Artorias, because, ooh. And while running through here, we say hi to the only good dragon of Dark Souls 1. Hello, Calamite. How are you? And then we decide to get this little guy. Boop. 2 Twinkling Titanite and 2 Titanite chunks. Those are still useful, right? And then we decide to go down to meet Calamite, and I guess the dog wanted to see him first. Alright. And then we come down, get another Titanite slab, and proc Calamite for golf later. We use that to upgrade the pants. And then we decide to... Whew. Very, very anxious about this one. We decided to go into Artorias, and we had the Grass Crest Shield for better stamina regen. But I will let this attempt play out. Very questionable hitbox, but whatever. So after that, I decided to triple kindle the bonfire. So we would go from 5 to 20 Estus flasks. And with that tiny piece of information, I will let this attempt play out. So I think now is the best time to explain this. At this point, I'd lost twice. The second attempt did not go super well. And my previous run was the piercing sword run. And two of my main problems with that run were that, one, I wasn't doing a lot of damage, and two, I was basically... I had, like, non-existent poise damage. This run with claws, at least in the late game, felt like it had the same two problems. Poise damage, not too big of a deal, but you're not stunning Artorias. And, in fact, I checked. I went back and I checked. I actually have less damage here on this run, on this Artorias fight. 78 per swing. Whereas I had like 119 or something close to that on the piercing sword run. And on the piercing sword run, it took like 7 or 8 attempts, and I actually had to go leave and level up because the Artorias fight was too difficult. And here I'm doing even less damage, I have less range, I believe my attack speed is slower. So here, I have... I mean, I'm in an even worse position than the piercing sword run. Not for the entire run, but for this specific fight. And it's one of the hardest in the game. So I was very, very anxious. And I actually I made a bit of a deal with myself that if I did not beat Artorias this attempt, that I would say DLC is beyond my skill capacity for this specific run, and I would just give up on it. And I switched up my rings a little bit. I took off the Grass Crest shield. I put on Hovel's ring, and I put on the bottom part of the Black Iron set to have better defense. And at some point in the fight, I started treating it like a precursor or like a very rough draft of what a no-hit run would look like if I ever decided to do one. Because I didn't want to give up on the third attempt. But the lack of range and damage was very demoralizing. But with all that being said, I will let the rest of this attempt play out. Will we triumph and continue on, or will Artorias cut us short and leave us with just 3 bosses as compared to like 6 or so? Let's see. Victory achieved. Wow. This was a very exhilarating and terrifying fight. Whew. 60,000. Wow. Beat him with the claw plus 15, thief mask plus 9, black leather armor plus 10, black iron gauntlets plus 5, black iron leggings plus 5, Hovel's ring, ring of steel protection, and 15 Estus flasks at plus 5. Took a lot, but we did it at level 82 with 40 vitality, 30 endurance, 40 dexterity, 9 strength, if you want to keep counting that, and 10 resistance. Whew. Now, at this point, that fight took a lot out of me. It drained a lot. And this is where the limitations of the fist, the limitations in range and honestly kind of damage, were really presenting themselves in their fullest. And it was hitting hard. But we were able to beat Artorias, third try. So, very anxious about Madness, but everything else, we're probably good. We can probably take everything else on. But, yeah,